But our second game should be pretty exciting. I mean, when you look at the hottest teams in the NBA, right now you have to mention OKC.
Yep.
They've won 10 of their last 11. And this man, they've been 5-1 without Westbrook in the lineup, who's missed the last 6 games due to an ankle injury. And congratulations on the birth of his twin daughters, Sky and Jordan. So he hasn't been around, but this team is playing well, Kevin, and they're doing it on the defensive end, holding their opponents to under 50%, and just the way that they're playing together is just really impressive. And what have you noticed about this Billy Donovan team this year that maybe hasn't been around in years past?
You know, I really noticed Adams has locked down the paint. Man, he's getting offensive rebounds, second chances, but he's getting defensive rebounds. He's blocking shots, and he's big. He's putting that wood on everybody who's coming around him. So everybody in this league nowadays, they don't like the wood being thrown at them. They're like, they don't want to be in the woodshed. They're like, man, sometimes you got to jump in that woodshed with both feet.
Right.
But he's cleared out the lane for him. And then I think Paul George is just very comfortable right now. How comfortable is he going to be when Westbrook comes back? I mean, you know, right now, you know, they found a nice little rhythm. You know, Schroeder did a nice job. They fit well, and I just hope that Russell comes back and just plays how the team's been playing. Defend, get out, move the ball, move the rock, and just play. So, what I've seen them is grow defensively, and they got to keep that growth going.
You're talking about Paul George and what he's done. He's already had 5 double-doubles this season. Last year, as a total season, he's only had 4. He leads the league in steals at 2.5 a game. And I tell you, doing his games, 2 of his games this year, I was so impressed with him on both ends of the floor. I know we talk about Kawhi Leonard as one of the best two-way players, which we should. But in my mind, after watching him, especially him taking on Golden State Warriors, fighting through those screens, Zeke checking multiple players from Durant to Curry to Thompson, I really just love this game. And I think he's becoming more comfortable in this role that he's accepted, being Robin to Batman almost.
Yeah, and we know Paul George is an elite defender. And, you know, as Mikhail just said, over these last 6 to 10 games, what this team has done, in my opinion, is found their defensive identity. Now, you would think with Westbrook coming back, with his type of athleticism, he should be one of the elite defenders in the league. So when you got a Westbrook and a Paul George, forget about what they do offensively, because they're both great offensive players. But when both these guys really wanted to defend, and if Westbrook can bring his defensive mentality back to OKC as opposed to his offensive mentality, then I think this will make them that much more better and that much more dangerous.
No question. You know what happens sometimes with defenders, like, you know what Schroeder does? He stays in front of his man. It ain't tricky. He stays. Sometimes Russell starts going for steals. He starts overplaying lanes. He starts running through passing lanes. He does the old run, duck back real quick. You know, sometimes a big gambler throws everybody else off because he's gambling so much. They're just openings. Whereas, like, you look at their team right now, like you said, Zeke, they found their identity, but their identity has been solid.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, you know, just not a lot of gambling, just solid. And they've got to continue that.
And this goes back to, you know, just in terms of how they measure people, right? In terms of statistical and analytics. It's like they value, if you steal the basketball, they consider that good defense, okay? But we all know as former players, what is good defense? Good defense is staying in front of you, challenging the shot, and making you miss. If I can make you miss, I've played good defense. But if I get 2 or 3 steals a game, then that means I'm a gambler. And those 2 or 3 steals that you get gambling, okay, you're going to give up 10 to 14 points.
Exactly.
And that's what the numbers don't show. But that's what good teammates, coaches, and everything else know.
You talk about their defensive identity, and the reason why they need to rely on that defensive identity is because they are last in the NBA when it comes to the three-point shot. They're only averaging 31% from the three-point line. And so being that they don't have those shooters, they have to rely on Ferguson, Robertson when he gets back. And so, yeah, I think you're right, Zeke. Defense, and I think speed of pace has to be kind of their calling card until they figure everything else out. And with the big fella inside, you mentioned it, Kevin. He's averaging 20 points, shooting over 50%. Last year he had career highs, Adams, in scoring, rebounds, and assists. And one of the favorite things I like about him, he was voted by GMs toughest guy in the NBA earlier this season.
Well,
and he
Mac
said,
just gave it was it the woodshed?
oh, yeah.
I tell you what. Yeah.
The toughest guy in the NBA. What happens in that woodshed?
He said, I want to go in that
You got to
woodshed.
jump in that thing
Yeah.
sometimes. I tell you right now, guys that get like that, you had two of them on your team. They were like, yeah, we're going to go thug it around.
Right.
Mahorn and Lambier.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go. I tell you what, I told you all the time, I'm a better basketball player than you are. At some point, all this fouling is going to go away, and we're going to have to hoop, and I'm okay for that. Adams is like one of those guys. I think you just got to go at Adams, man.
Yeah.
You cannot let him just roughhouse you and stuff. But yeah, he was voted the toughest guy in the league by the GMs.
And he answered it just like a tough guy. He goes, what does that mean? What do I get? And they said nothing. He goes, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like
Did I get a car?
Yeah, just like a